So, Nika, thank you for being with me today and thank you for your interview. My working mom wisdom section of my newsletter is my favorite because it gets me to speak to other moms like you, and there's so much we can learn from each other. So, thank you for your interview. And I'm really excited to talk with you today. And I wanted to start a little bit by you can just tell us in short a little bit about yourself. And you're working on two different things. You have your full-time business and you also have the passion projects, both of which are very interesting, and both of which are you know, fueling the future of your life in different ways. So if you could just talk to us a little bit about yourself and what you're up to.
Yeah. So I'm Nika Talbot. I'm a writer and digital entrepreneur. And I'm working on, I have a consultancy business or a content copywriting business. And I work with clients. So I tend to offer things like newsletter services, social media, copywriting, and that kind of thing. So content marketing services. And I work with, at the moment, I've got a small group of regular clients that I've been doing things with for a long time. So having sort of long-term relationships with clients is quite important to me. I think it's difficult when you're taking on lots of short-term clients because, just getting to know lots of different teams and it can be quite exhausting and it can lead to burnout. So I just try to manage my energy levels really. So I work with clients, doing consultancy work, helping people with their content marketing and strategy. And then on the side, my passion project, but it is a paid project as well. I am earning a little bit from it, but it's evolved a fair bit. I have a newsletter. I would say a newsletter, a network or a community called Workshift. And that is about the future of work, which I think is entrepreneurial. It's about how do we bring the whole human to it. So it's about making changes with our lifestyles, looking at things like AI, digital disruption, working remotely, balancing parenting and work and all these different things. So looking at the future of work and how we adapt to changes, but also looking at bringing in the health side of things and how we can bring the whole human to it. So I'm just as interested in things like personal development and health and mental wellness and fitness, all these things that I do on a day-to-day basis that enable me to be better at the work stuff. And I don't think we talk about that side of it enough. The comms and the stuff that's out there is very focused on business and money, but growth can be personal growth as well as professional growth. So I try to bring all sides of myself to it. And I am really sporty and into fitness and stuff as well. And because I have issues with health, I have a long-term health condition, so I have to manage my energy levels and, all these things come into it really. So I'm exploring lots of different things there, but helping people build their digital businesses in a way that feels good for them. And I'm sharing industry media tips. I'm sharing interviews, inspiring interviews with people, talking to other moms about how they make it work. It's an evolution, but I'm having fun with it.
I think what you've said is really important and you're absolutely right. It's not talked about enough, and especially as working moms and female business owners who have families. The juggle is real, and often our health and our mental well-being gets put on the side. And I think we don't give it enough importance. And then it just, it's very easy for it to pile up. Well, it was a quote I read recently. It was like, take the rest you need, you know, fuel yourself the way you need to. Otherwise, you'll break down when you least expect it. And it's a totally bad time. And you won't even know it's wrong. It's a really good quote. I'm really glad that you obviously identified that and you're trying to bring that into your work because you're absolutely right. It's not talked about enough. And what I found interesting in your interview that you've written is that you even signed up for a longevity retreat. I'm not even sure I know what that is. I guess it's for health and
Really,
wellness.
I'm really into longevity. It's just it's an interest. I think I just find the whole idea of aging being something that we can challenge and we can do something about if we're not retiring. So I look at what's going on in the world, and we've got the 50s. I'll be coming into my next generation. So this is also a big thing for me at the moment. I'll be coming into my next decade soon. And I'm thinking about how I want my working life to be. We have a generation of people who are not necessarily wanting to be in the workplace anymore, full-time 9 to 5, but maybe they want to have a go at building their own business. And it's like we've also got ageism in industries and people not being employed or being let go because they're too old, too expensive, etc. So I think there's a real market there for people who are trying to build their own businesses in their 50s. And this whole on-retirement thing around 60s and beyond, like what are people going to do if we're living longer and we're challenging, if people are healthy and they're able to deal with things, and we've got the technology, and hopefully AI will pay into that a little bit, help us to work these things out with illnesses and conditions. So yeah, I've got rheumatoid arthritis, and I developed that at 38. And that was partly to do with stress and, trying to do too many things, trying to work, trying to be a mom on my own, and, build a business on the side. I was just doing too much. And when you're a soloist, you're doing everything, unless you outsource stuff, which obviously in the beginning stages you can't really afford to do. So you end up doing a lot of it yourself. My body just went, I can't do this forever. So I had to reassess things after that and look at my working patterns. And I was already remote at that point. And, it's gone even more that way now. So post-COVID, obviously the whole world has had a shift towards remote working. So, yeah. So, yes, I'm interested in longevity. I experiment, I explore stuff, I keep fit. I'm very focused on that side of things as well, because it all feeds in. It's like we're 360-degree human. We can't just function like robots. We're not robots. So you need your sleep, you need your good food, and yeah, go on.
Do you manage your time and energy? What do you do?
Okay, I've got a really good routine. So I work from home and sometimes co-working spaces, but I get up in the morning. I do my sort of morning routine bits and pieces. I always get out in the morning. So I have a jog or a run or a walk in the morning. And I tend to spend the mornings focusing on client work. So I might do, say, 9 till 12 or 1, where I focus on getting my client stuff done. And then the rest of the day, I'll take a break at lunchtime, get out and about for a bit. And then the rest of the day, I focus on my own projects. So that's kind of how I've split my day at the moment between deep work. I'm happy to get up in the morning early and crack on with things, get the coffee on. My daughter's a bit older now, she's a teen, so I've got a bit more headspace and I can focus. I'm not doing school run anymore, but I have had years of that, so she's doing her own thing now. She's 17. I've tried to divide my day because I realize that I find it really difficult to context switch between tasks. If I'm doing a lot of social media activity, or I'm talking to people, having calls, or doing the social side of things, or looking online, I'm not as focused. So literally in the morning, I have to put the phone on airplane mode and I have to just shut myself off, maybe get some earphones on and do the client work and do what needs to be done for the day. And then I think my energy shift, it's a lot. Once you've done that big task of the day that you want to get done, you're a bit more relaxed and the rest of the day can be a bit more organic, but I'm making a point of getting out now, because I think sitting at home on your own, if you're a soloist, it's not great for your mental health. You need to be working in co-working space, chatting to people, networking with other business owners. A lot of work comes through other people and your connections. So I'm really focusing on building my network at the moment, which is online with the groups that I'm in, but also locally, because I live somewhere. I live in a physical place, and it's nice to feel a bit connected to where you're based as well. So yeah, it's taken a while, but that's my rough day routine. I try to split between deep work and then PM a bit more of the social stuff and the chats and the calls. So it's just setting up your day in a way that works for you. And if you've got, for years, I had the 9 to 3 thing where I was doing the school run. So I would try to do my work, obviously, within that period. And then the rest of the day, I'd do other stuff, bit less focused time. But another thing I'm trying to do is build in time in the day to do training and reading, not always be reading books in the evenings, sort of build it into the day routine. But I don't know why I haven't done this. It's for some reason, I see reading as an activity that I do in my own time away from the work as such, but you can't sit in front of a computer screen all day. It's just my eyes, I can't do it. So I have to give myself breaks. And it's, movement, lots of movement during the day. So I try and build that into my day, really.
You had in your interview, you mentioned that you have what success means to you.
Yeah. So
Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Yeah.
Yeah. So I have I suppose a goal, like a goal list. I journal quite a bit. I don't necessarily do it in the morning, but in the end of the day, I think it's quite a good way to kind of switch gears between work and evening and just have a bit of a reflection time on the day. So I might do some journaling in the evening. I regularly write down my goals and 10 things that I want. And sometimes I write them in present tense. Sometimes I write them in it's already happened kind of thing. But it's like a form of visualization and goal setting. So I just have things that I want to achieve. And I bring in emotion into that as well. So I talk about how I feel about it or how I want to make people feel. It's not just strict goals. I talk about the emotional side of it. But yeah, just something there. And I think writing, there's a connection between in the brain. You know, when you physically write things down, they mean a bit more than if you type. So that's why I like writing things by hand before I transfer them to the computer. Yeah, but review it every day, you know, look at it regularly. And it's a way of creating it, I suppose, visualizing it, manifesting it in a way, because you're bringing it into your energy. You're focusing on it every day. And what you think about, you will create, you will bring about. So I picked that tip up. It's over the years from various books like Julia Cameron, The Artist's Way. Joe Pulizzi talks a lot about this as well in Content Inc. You know, he's a big goal setter and talks about having that daily routine and habit. But yeah, if you don't know where you're going or what you want to achieve, you're not going to get there. You've got to sort of think about where you want to get with it all and why. You know, why do you want to get there? So yeah, just a little practice. I think it's helpful to have it written down. And then another little tip I picked up from a big personal development website, Mind Valley. The CEO of Mind Valley said, when you're writing your goals down, write them down as a question. Like, you know, if you want to be earning 6 figures a year, write down why am I earning and sort of turn it into a question, because he thinks the brain is tricked, you know, and it will understand that better. So that's an interesting tip. Just have your goals and review them, and they may change over time, but you're sort of getting clearer. And I think clarity in this world is an issue. You know, it's actually, we have so much choice and so many things we could do that it's getting clear on what you want and why you want it is key.
Where do you get your inspiration?
People, conversations I hear. As I say, I like to get out and about and sit in cafes, listen to what people are talking about. Friends, little WhatsApp chats I have with people, other people who are working in this space, other business owners, books, podcasts, you know, so many areas really. Going to events. But yeah, I'm always plugged into a podcast of some kind or reading books. And actually things like Substack as well, the community there is inspiring. You know, if you spend a bit of time on Notes, you can find some very like-minded people who are happy to collaborate. So yeah, it comes from other people, you know, that energy you get from other people, but a mix of having that time where you're extrovert and you're out there, another time to be within yourself and just to go inward a bit and think about things. Nature, travel, so many things.
So you're the mom of a teenager. Talk to us a little bit about how the teen years are, and if you have any advice to any other moms who are moms of maybe younger teens, parenting hack for them.
Parenting hack. You suddenly go from this kind of doing everything with them and they want to be with you to this sort of Kevin phase where they're in their room and they just they're trying to find out who they are and they want time on their own, and they're very digital. You know, it's a completely different childhood to mine, where I was more outdoors and I didn't have a mobile phone and we didn't have the internet. So I've kind of come through that and I can see how they are now, but they do a lot together online. You know, it's social activity, but it's digital. But I think just giving them a good work ethic, you know, showing them what you're doing, talking to them about what you're doing. So I try to involve Giulietta in my business. I'm always showing her bits and pieces that I'm doing and talking about things I've seen and heard. Talk to her a lot about AI. You know, I talk about social media a fair bit. I drive her up the wall, you know, I'm always telling her bits and pieces that I've heard, which doesn't want to hear it.
I thought that was interesting. In your interview, you said that she's not really into.
She'll watch TikTok. She's on TikTok a lot. And they learn a lot from TikTok. They tend to use that for search. But she doesn't really engage in showing her own pictures. She doesn't want help online so much. So she's not using Instagram, or she's actually a consumer more than a creator at the moment. So she just watches a lot of videos and things. It's a different way of learning. But yeah, there's diversity on TikTok. You can see people from all areas of life. And I do think that's really positive. You know, you're not getting a filtered Instagram type image of life. You know, you're getting real life and short videos from people. of all ages. And, I find that quite inspiring. I think TikTok's amazing. But I just talk to her. I try to keep that conversation going. I talk to her about what I'm up to. I ask for her opinion on things, give her some agency. She's finding her way with her studies at the moment in her friendship groups. And I just talk to her about what I've gone through in the past with things, such as college, big decisions that she's got coming up, how I felt about things. And I try and help and encourage her, but I also want her to stand on her own 2 feet. So I give her some independence there. But I think just by being a role model and showing, she's seen me sitting here doing the boring stuff every day, working at home on my own, tinkering away on the computer, tweaking, it's hard work. You've just got to keep going. And a lot of it can be mundane. It's not all excitement, is it, when you're doing your own thing? So she just sees the reality of that, I think, day to day. Hopefully I'm instilling some work ethic in there. But yeah, it's a whole different world for teens, isn't it? They've got a different career choice ahead of them. They don't have to follow the traditional path. And I think it's very overwhelming sometimes and a bit confusing for teenagers to figure out their next step. But yeah, also just not stress about things. They do go through their phases where they don't want to talk and they just want to be on their own. And I think that's completely natural. And I just support on that. But I try to also have a life of my own outside of family. It's like I've got to be excited and interested in things and sharing that. And I think that helps. I don't put all my attention and time onto my child because that would be way too much pressure. So I've got my own stuff going on and I think that's quite healthy.
So for other working moms or moms that want to look at redesigning their life a bit, maybe they're in full-time jobs, maybe they're transitioning out of jobs, maybe they're already solopreneurs, what's the one piece of advice you would give them so that they can actually focus on building something that really matters for them and that really makes them whole?
I would say just don't try and do it all on your own, because it's a route to burnout. Like I said, with the Rude magazine, my first startup, I just burnt out because I had one other person, but I was trying to do it all on my own, as well as working part-time to support it and bringing up a child. And it was too much. I would say get a strong support system in place. Have your board as such, have your crowd of people, your mentors, your peers that you work with, have a good community of people around you who've got different skills that complement each other. So if you can build that kind of unofficial board, where you've got someone you can just WhatsApp or chat and say you have a regular meet with them and you say, you talk about what you're struggling with. Just having a peer support group is everything. I think your network is everything as a small business owner. And then it doesn't matter if you're working at home all day on your own because you've got someone, you've got people you can turn to. So I've tried to seek that out in trainings that I've done, in communities that I've joined, some online communities of people who are on a similar path to me. And we can help each other and you feel part of a shared mission. So I think it's less about marketing, it's more about movements and sort of what is it we're all trying to achieve together, because we can do more together than we can do on our own. So I'm a big fan of things like unions as well. I'm a member of the NUJ. If you can get some bargaining power collectively to change how things are done as well, that's really important. So it's feeling connected because you feel more connected to yourself when you're connected to other people. So that's my tip, really. It's a lonely job, writing at home on your own or being a solopreneur is fairly lonely. And I don't think we talk about that enough. And even if you're in a co-working space, you're not necessarily going to chat to people. Everyone's got their own things they're getting on with. So it's about setting up that support network, whether it's just coffee chats, virtual coffee chats during the day if you're working at home, using things like Lunch Club, or having a meeting where you get together with people every month. It's really important. Don't try and do it all on your own. Can't be the marketing, this person, the business development person, the accountant, the writer, it's exhausting. So that's my lesson.
So I have 2 last rapid fire questions for you. One is, what's the best thing you've read lately?
The best thing I've read, I'm reading Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert.
That's a great,
which I think is fantastic. I've read it before and I've read it partially. I'm really bad at finishing books, but I'm rereading it now. So that's tapping into creativity, and how you can see it as more of an everyday thing. So, yeah, I like that approach. I think there's a lot of tactics in business. You know, we talk a lot about money and sales and various things, but I think you've got to go with your gut and you've got to trust your intuition a little bit and give yourself space and time to be creative. I think that gets missed because there's such pressure to grow financially. I'm always looking for books like that can kind of get me out of my mindset, really, and get me tapped in back into the bigger thing and the bigger energy out there, because there's a bigger energy out there. So I look for lots of that kind of stuff, manifestation, creativity.
What's the best thing you've watched?
Well, I'm a huge fan of detective stuff and crime dramas, and I like things that tackle power and hold people to account. So I actually I would just watch Dope Sick at the moment on iPlayer, and it's a fantastic storytelling. It's a great drama, but it's about the big pharma industry and about one doctor and about addiction, about the drug culture in America. And it's just an amazing series. So I've just finished watching that. But I love something where I can just really get into it and look at the drama side of it, the storytelling, holding people to account. It's really good, yeah. Just love that. Just finishing that now.
Awesome. Thank you very much.